Hello everyone, my name is Teacher Lena and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk to you about large group classes with BlingABC. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. And please go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And that way that when I put out new videos, which I do make new videos at least once a week, sometimes more, you would be notified and you could see more videos just like this. So my channel is all about my experiences as an ESL online teacher. So hopefully you'd want to come back for more. So like I said, I'm going to be talking about the large group classes for BlingABC. They do have a very unique type of class that, for me, it's the first time I've ever done something like this, and I've taught for several companies so far. So this classroom is very different, and it's very neat to see how it operates. They do have the capacity to hold at least, I don't even know how many students that they could actually put into this classroom. They could put in more than what they would allow, but they say about 25 students is about what the max would be for what Bling would put into the classroom. And the way that it operates is that you have 6 students, you have groups of 6, and those 6 students can be visible at one time, while the other students would be kind of hiding, and you could kind of see like who's in the classroom. You could see the little pictures, not their pictures, but they have little animals for each of the students who are not being seen visibly on camera. And so that way you could see the names of the students that are present. But at the top you would see, group 1 or group 2 or group 3, and you can see their pictures when you select that group to be seen. And then from that group, you can have a group or a student come down, and that one student then would be put on stage, and then everybody in the class could see that one student, and that student could answer a question, they could draw on the screen, or however you want them to participate. And actually, any of the students could be heard at any time. Their mics can all be on at the same time, and they can all draw if you allow them to. But if you take away their authority, or if you don't authorize them to write or to be heard, then you cannot hear or have them write at the same time. So like I was saying, that one student, it's nice to have that one student be able to do something, or if you have 2 students for group work, pair work, then they could actually both write and answer a question at the same time. But you can see what each student can do when you hover over their picture, and then you can see like the microphone button will drop down, or the pen button will drop down, or the star button, if you want to reward them for participating, that will drop down. And so then you can have them do whatever, and then you could take that privilege away once you put them back up in the group. So, and I highly recommend you do that, because once a student realizes that they still can write on the board, they will. So be careful. So that group can then be changed out with the next group. And it's advised for you to change out the groups per slide. So once you move on to the next slide, you just change your group, and then that group actually gets a ding sound on their end, and they know, oh, now the teacher can see me and I can participate and be seen. So they usually perk up. But if they're not on the stage, or if they're not the group that I can actually see, then they're able to still hear, they're able to participate, they're able to still learn. And a lot of times their parents are standing there just kind of helping them remember, say what the teacher's saying, practice. So that they're getting plenty of practice time in while they're in this class with all of their other students and classmates. So so then you can rotate the students. Each with each slide, and sometimes I do it more because if I'm ending up teaching a slide, then I like to invite the next group in so that they might be able to practice, a sentence, and then we'll move on to the next one, and then they'll be the first group in the on stage, or the first group that I could see who might participate for the next slide. Okay, and then let's see, the sound is pretty key. When I first started with this session, I learned that the parents were trying to get the students to participate. They're trying to teach them like how to use the platform, what to do, and just kind of keep them involved. So it was really noisy that first week. Now it's gotten better, but muting the students is very, very helpful. I kind of touched on that before, but you might want to start out, and actually they do have some more guidelines on how to handle sound in the classroom. They do want you to mute the students more so that the teacher can be heard more, because if there's too much noise in the background, then the students cannot hear the teacher, and it's not as an effective of a class if it's too much noise. So trying to mute the students as much as possible, and then allowing them to all participate at certain points of the lesson is ideal. And then if there's a student who is trying to participate, then if you mute all the other students, there's a button where you can actually mute each group all at once. So you can mute group 1, group 2, group 3, and then if you have that one student who's participating, you could unmute their single mic, and then when you put them back, then you could mute their mic again, and that way the next student can come down and you won't hear what the last student was saying. Same thing with the pen. You authorize the student to use the pen when it's their turn. You can authorize everybody to use their pens. Actually, the groups have the pen authorization for the whole group, so they can all write together, or you can take that authorization away. But you do need to be careful about having those pens out there, because people will discover that they could still write, and they will, because it's fun. And they just want to sometimes get their students, other classmates, to laugh at something. Like sometimes all of a sudden everything will disappear, and I'm like, oh, you still had that pen, didn't you? So I've learned to keep control over that pen, because even though these students are not young, they still like to play around and do silly stuff. So so let's see. The sound, muting is very key. The pen is very good to use, but it's also good to take that, to control that privilege. And what I've noticed also is a lot of the students are not all at capacity. Like every time I come to the class, there is a new student who might not have been there before. Like it's kind of changes. So it says 25 students, but not all the students have been there at the whole all the time. So my experience is that I haven't had a full class, even though they are large group classes. So that's made it easier for kids to participate. They've had more time to participate in these classes. So that's good for me and for the students. So it does take a little time to get used to these larger classes, as with anything. And it can seem like kind of intimidating at first, but I would say it really isn't much to worry about, especially if you're already used to teaching in a classroom. I mean, you're used to giving students their opportunity to speak. You kind of know that every student is not going to be engaged all the time the way that you would ideally love for them to be able to be engaged. But when you have a large group of students, they don't always participate and pay attention. That's just the dynamics of a class. So don't worry if you feel like a student is kind of like lost their focus in the class. Don't worry, you'll be able to grab them back in, and when it's their turn, or you can call out their name, and maybe that will help to get them back engaged. But Yeah, when you're used to teaching in a classroom, you kind of know like kids are going to drift off, but that's all the more reason for you to, bring out that puppet or some kind of prop to help them stay more engaged and do something to keep them engaged. But, you get used to it. It's pretty fantastic to experience this technology. I love the fact that you can do this with these students. And making sure that you're giving them rewards throughout the class so that they're encouraged and excited, and making sure that they do kind of keep the uh, about the same number of rewards. You don't want to have anybody who's got, several more than the next student. And actually, that's kind of my way to remember who's actually has participated, because they might have, one or two more stars than the next student. So I know, oh, it's their turn to participate because they're missing some stars. So that's my way to keep track. But yeah, I think that it's been a lot of fun learning this new platform and learning how to use it with the students. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will go ahead and answer those for you. If you are interested in teaching with BlingABC, please contact me in my email address, and I would get back with you and I could help walk you through the process. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.